Is it the traffic?
Mindset.
That's right. And that's what today's all about. It's a mindset. So it's not the traffic. The traffic is abstract. It's the person. And that's what this is all about today. So if you guys have noticed, the theme with every panel, every person that we brought up here is all about mindset and doing things, creating habits, creating patterns, creating ways so that they keep their heads in the right place. And that's what it's all about. So this is a live role play script panel. These guys are all awesome at prospecting, reaching out to for sale by owner inspired. And these guys all know, they're doing that at a really high level. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go right along and have everybody just kind of introduce yourselves, tell a little bit about, your business, how long you've been in the business, and just a little bit how you got into scripts and role play.
My name's Justin Jarboe. Been in the business close to a year now. Started off, all of my business is a result of lead generation. So calling for sale by owners, calling expireds, calling past clients from different industries, bringing them in. And it's really a lot easier than everybody thinks of it. All you got to do is just pick up the phone. I mean, they can't take away your birthday. So I don't know what else to say. I mean, if they say no, I mean, what are you going to do? You just go to the next person. Someone's going to be there. You're going to be able to help somebody else out. And that's really all I have to say. You just keep going, plugging away, mindset, it's a numbers game.
That's a great point that Justin brings up too. Again, I talked about that when I first started this point. It's really just a numbers game. So the mindset and the attitude and the philosophy you have to have is just next. Obviously, they're not interested in my help, so I can move on to the next person. If you don't, it's going to get you down and you're going to fail. Adam, what about yourself?
About 4 years ago, I was at a Star Power conference, and I went to a Scripts and Dialogues panel. It was literally, I think, or maybe 4.5 years now. It was the third day I was basically in real estate. And I just remember seeing the confidence that people had when they would be able to rattle off scripts. And I thought, okay, you know what? The first aspect of my business and what I'm going to work on is mastering scripts and dialogues so that any situation that I'm put into, I'll be able to handle and I'll never have a lack of confidence going into that. And a lot of times my wife absolutely hates it, but it works fundamentally for personal and for business too.
She left the room now. Pretty brave with that comment.
Yeah, Jeff Lover again, and my niche has always been expireds and for sale by owners, and the best way to get business from those people is to get on the phone and call them or go see them face to face. And so I just learned the scripts from the get-go and decided to focus on that side of business.
Deric Lipski, KW. Same thing. I've been doing this for about 10 years. Scripts, about 6. Got involved with Mike Ferry. Really like scripts. Got a hold of my OP Barry, gave some scripts to start it. My first 3 years, I only showed buyers homes, and I was selling close to 40 homes a year by just driving buyers around. And then I said I never listed a house. Gave me some scripts, and from that day on, I was hooked. Me and my wife practiced with me flashcards at KW. Remember those yellow ones you guys had them? I had those going back and forth day after day. I actually told my wife with the script, she was going to not marry me. And I said, why would you want to marry me? I don't know, maybe you're ugly. And other than that, is the reason why you wouldn't. Let's focus on that. Move forward and then break it down to ridiculous. Once I saw that work, I said, I'm going to work in business too.
Thanks. That's great. Great story.
Using every aspect of your life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He's not kidding. We role play as a team. When we have to do a tough price reduction call, we'll role play the call before we call our sellers. Or if we're going to cancel a listing, or we have our assistants role play disgruntled calls. I mean, that's how serious we take it on our team. So the other thing I want to talk about though is scripts are awesome, and you need to, if you want to be effective. Remember I talked earlier about my 700 calls. 700, now it's probably 70 to 100. It's because I've gotten a lot better at scripts, and I've gotten a lot better at knowing what I'm going to say. And it's all been through practice. Justin's one of my role play partners, Jeff's one of my role play partners, Deric's one of my role play partners. I personally have 5 role play partners. I do 15 minutes per day, 5 days a week, so I take it very serious. I know these guys that do as well. Did you have something, Adam?
I was just gonna say you get a really good point, David. Though what you said is don't want it to be belittled. role play, if you're growing a team or you're starting to grow a team, make sure you role play with your administrative people just as much as you're role playing with your agents, because I cannot tell you how important it is. They're the front lines, they're the first people answering the phones, and they've got to have the scripts and dialogues better than anybody else in your team.
Yeah, it's huge, it's huge. I know Justin, what we do, we have like a game, I'll call, if I need to talk to Justin, I'll say, hey Justin, it's John Smith, and yeah, I really liked your presentation, but I think I'm going to go with Remax. Give me a call back, and that's the message he'll get, and he knows to call me back, and we role play, so that's how serious we take it. All right, so tell me though about, we know the role play is impeccable, but tell me about your lead generation. What do you guys do on a daily basis as far as your lead generation disciplines? And how do you keep yourself going? How do you stay focused and disciplined to make those calls every day? And we'll start with Deric.
Like Dan said, I have a mortgage, so every day I have to pay the bill. I was sort of, I don't want to lose my house. I remember one time I was with Barry and I was working out a lot, and he goes, hey, if you don't start making calls, you're going to be the most buff guy at the foreclosure. We got to get back on the phones. So that, coupled with kids, you kind of do it. But in the morning I get up, I get up about 5:30. I heard most millionaires do that, so I do that. This year's been a really breakthrough for me, meaning mindset. Last year I was making calls and doing the action. I wasn't getting results. So just doing it's not enough. Really got to be in that area. My body would say that I wasn't getting results. And part of that changed from Jared's dad, Tony Robbins. They got the edge, and I started to listen to that during the hour of power day. That shifted my mindset to think a little more and start thinking about my business. And then something magic started happening. People started saying yes. I started getting signatures, and I started making money, and my wife had, and she goes, keep doing what you're doing, it's working right now, you know? So what I basically do is get up in the morning, work out for about an hour, do an hour of power down in the basement. I'm out of the office by about 7 o'clock, everyone knows, social media, I check in, Facebook about 7:15, every day in my office, people see that, think I'm a worker. 7:30, gonna role play from 7:30 to 8, I role play for about half an hour. From 8 to 10:30, I call, I stop at, let me back up a second, 7:30 is East Coast, I call from 8 to 10:30, 10:30 is West Coast, and then from 11 o'clock to 12, I finish it up. If I have an appointment, if I don't, I keep calling until I get one, or at least try to. My goal every day is about 35 to 50 contacts, depending on if I get one. If I get one before 35 contacts, I stop. If I don't have one after 35, I usually stop about 50. Those are my marks.
So you're telling us that you have a disciplined, structured, systematized, system to lead generate, correct? Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, exactly. Every day it's pretty much the same thing. And everyone drives by, anyone near my office, anyone that knows me is like, dude, every day I drive by at 7 o'clock, you're the only one at the office. I'm like, I know! It's crazy!
So you have all listings, man.
Right.
Jeff, what about yourself?
Yeah, very similar to Deric's. I get in 2 to 2.5 hours a day, depending on my evening. I start prospecting at 7:59. I'm calling expireds from 7:59 to 8:30. At 8:30, I shift to for sale by owners till 9 o'clock. I start making just sold calls around listings that we sold from 9 to 9:30. 9:30 to 10, I'm calling past clients. And then 10 o'clock, I'm role playing again. The extra half hour, 45 minutes comes in the evenings, 2 to 3 nights a week, depending on how the schedule works out for that week. And that's going back to expires and for sale owners in the evening, a half hour to 45 minutes. I don't know why this thought came to me, but it has to do with prospecting. I think one of the biggest mistakes that agents make once they do make the decision that they're going to start prospecting is they let the distractions get in the way, right? So, you've got problems with your deals, or you're getting calls and getting emails that are coming in. And I'm sure with everybody up here, we definitely block out all outside influences from our morning schedule, and that's crucial. Even if, agents say all the time, how do you put a schedule together? If you have a schedule, or if you don't have a schedule, the best way to look at is your schedule in 3 parts. The morning is for prospecting and lead generation. The afternoon is for all the other stuff. And the late afternoon, early evening is for presentation time. And if you just keep those 3 areas separate from each other, no listing presentations in the morning, no administrative in the morning, reward yourself. No prospecting in the afternoon. You can, go on Facebook and return calls and check emails and do all that stuff in the afternoon. If you just break up your day into 3 parts and you just stay mentally tough on not looking at your phone, not answering it, not, you know, most agents get into the office between 9 and 10 o'clock, so once your phone starts ringing, it's usually just a problem with the deal, and because it's their only deal, they call you 4 or 5 times before lunchtime. You don't need to take that call. You know, there's a saying, there's nothing in my business, there's no prospect, there's no customer, there's no agent out there that can't wait until after lunchtime. So if you just keep the 3 parts of your schedule.
And I just want to touch on something Jeff said as well. He said to reward yourself, and that's something a couple of years ago I started doing. Is I'm a big golfer. My only challenge with golf lately, the last few years, was I realized I'm not really getting any better where I'm going to be a professional golfer, which my passion was to be a pro golfer. So anyway, I started seeing golf as a waste of time. It was taking away from my business, my prospecting. So what I did was I set an award for myself, or a reward for myself, is if I make my appointment and I get my listing, then I get to play golf that afternoon. So that helped me, and then I felt really good about going out and playing golf, and I also felt really good about prospecting and being structured and disciplined. So
That's great. What about a key tactic if you're getting into it and you want to learn scripts and dialogues? As you can tell, I like to talk a lot. So what I used to do is whenever I would literally get an email script of the day, and I would print that off, there was one that I liked, and then I would go around and I would find 2, 3, 4, 5 people in my office, and the first time I sent the script, I would probably butcher it. I said, oh, let me try it again, I got it, I promise you I got it this time. And I'd say it again, if I messed up, I'm like, one more time, I'm go, and I would say it one more time until I got it, and then I would say, okay, repeat it back to me to see how it sounds. And then I would go find somebody else and I would do it with them, and I would literally do this for 15, 20 minutes every single day. So not only are you sharing and you're helping and you're teaching other people, but when you can teach something, you master it. Because it's a lot different to say a script to yourself in front of your computer screen than it is to be in a live situation and tell somebody this, to be able to utilize that in your back pocket whenever you need it, just like that.
Great point. Justin?
Each day, I tend to role play a specific group, whether it's a for sale by owner, an expired listing, a previous client, or just working my database and trying to clean out my top producers. You know, certain days you'll have so many tasks that it seems impossible to get to, so it's catch-up day. Another thing is you just got to stay in tune. Like he was touching on with the distractions, I actually put a note on my door now that says, do not call, do not knock, do not text, do not open this door, because I'm lead generating, I'm generating business. So that, I think that's very, very important. If you're walking around the office, go get lunch or water or something like that, do it after your lead generation time, because you'll easily get distracted. Go back and say, all right, I'm just gonna check Facebook real quick, and then you get sucked into it, and next thing you know, you watch a YouTube video, and your whole lead generation time is just gone, and you're like, well, I only got a half hour left, I might as well just keep doing this, and I'll check my email again. So it's so easy to get off that topic. If you are around the office and you're around other people, I asked them, I said, throw me an objection. You know, keep me up to date, keep me on my toes. So.
Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I was going to touch on what you said. I know my friend Jared, I don't know if he's back in the room. He had said, he called it the Facebook effect. A while ago, I heard you say that. And that's when you're doing something, like maybe you're supposed to be lead generating, but you say, yeah, you know what, I'll just post something. And then you log into Facebook, and then, oh, you saw your friend's post, so you got to respond to that. And then someone sends you an email, so you respond to that. And the next thing you know, you respond to someone else's, and then might as well check your email, right? And then before you know it, it's 45 minutes later. You've just wasted 45 minutes, and you haven't got anything accomplished. That's why it's so important, what Justin said, to shut down those email autoresponders. You have those things popping up on your screen. Turn your face, don't have your browsers open. So that's really, really important stuff.
I'm just going to make one comment on that too. The average phone call disrupts someone for 15 minutes. So I mean, if you think about that, you take 2 phone calls in for an hour, all of a sudden half an hour is gone, then you're like, think mentally, well, I only have a half an hour, I might as well do something else, but I don't even have time to get into it. So it allows yourself to do that. So it's just, if you can stay focused, the best thing that I ever did was turn my phone over to my EA. If you have an ability, if you have an assistant, if you don't, turn it over to a VA or whoever you want to turn it over to. Because your phone is such a distraction for you. And the reality is 90% of the phone calls that come into your office, if you train somebody well enough, they can handle for you, and then they email you with only 10% that's left there, and you respond back to them with the time that's allocated in your schedule.
Thank you.
I got something actually real quick tip to add to that. like you said, the average phone call is 15 minutes. What about checking voicemail and writing down the notes from the voicemail and thinking about what you're gonna say? Instead of actually checking your voicemail, just go through and return all the missed calls. Do that while you're in the car. Do that while you're doing something that's not very productive. Just return missed calls, because even if they called you, what's great is sometimes I'll listen to a voicemail and a seller will say, hey, you know, Jeff, we were just calling, we want to take your house off the market, or we called, we're going to list with somebody else. I don't want to hear that before I call them. I'd rather just jump right into a script with them on the phone. So I'm just returning my missed calls for the day. Rarely, unless I'm out of town like today, will I go through my voicemail. I'll just go through all my missed calls, and it's a lot quicker, and you're getting right to the point with people, and it's just a more effective way of doing it.
That's a great point. The other thing I would add is one thing that we do is we use autoresponders. I'm sure everybody up here does. So when somebody sends in an email or my voicemail, people know that I'm lead generating now, so I'll be returning calls at 12 o'clock and 4 o'clock. And the same thing with our clients. When I sit down to list a seller's house, we set the expectations up front. This is when I return calls, this is who you'll hear from, so they know. So there's never any distractions. The key is to avoid all those distractions. So before we get into the fun stuff, because we're going to do some live role play, I want to hear you guys' toughest objection. We're going to come up here, we're going to test these guys. All right, so we're going to have some fun with this. But before we get into that, I just want to, I know you talked a little bit about this on the last panel. Like, you know those real tough, you know, those letdowns, or those real tough sellers, or how do you guys get, I mean, what do you do to get past that? If somebody just hangs up on you, they just really want nothing to do with what you're saying. And you really think, you know, I mean, sometimes what we're saying just makes all the sense in the world, it's just, you just cannot break through to them.
I think for us, we just have fun with it. We actually have a big whiteboard in our office. It says, I've heard it all. And so anytime we hear something crazy or silly, we just go up and write it on the whiteboard, and everyone circles around and laughs at it. And we just have fun with it.
It's awesome.
The other thing to keep in mind is they have a problem. You don't have a problem. So sometimes you just got to say next and move on.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you, we handle some pretty tough objections when you have clients come to the office, watch a video, and you ask them for an upfront fee, plus additional commission, plus a transaction compliance fee. So we have a lot of objections from sellers that are coming into that. The thing you have to do is you got to make sure that you have confidence in everything that you say, don't even if it's wrong.
Confidence in the wrong stuff. It's awesome. Derek?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't get not attached to it. So if you get someone who's just not there, just whatever, just move on. I don't really, you know what I mean? It really depends on the situation and how the call went. If it's something I think I can work out later, if you guys have watched YouTube, I had a video where I called in and she hung up on me. I'm like, man, I recorded this video of prospect. I'm 8 minutes into it. I go, I'm not going to record another one. I'm calling back and trying it. And I got her. So it just really depends on what you want to do and the situation you're at. If they're somewhere reasonable. You know,
Great point.
Let's walk away. Whatever. Next one.
Yeah, next, that's all. You don't take it personal. It's not personal. They don't even know us. They don't know. I call people, they have no idea who I am, so I can't take it personal if they don't want to talk to me. Justin said, I'm calling in to help. These guys have an issue. They're trying to sell a house in this market by themselves. We're calling to help. If they don't want our help, then we'll call someone else that does. And we'll try it back. We always call back. That's the other thing, is consistency. Yes,
Keep in mind that prospecting could also be previous clients, friends, family, stuff like that. So if you get a really, really bad one, you're hung up on that, call someone that's going to be a little bit happier, that's going to bring you back up, someone that has energy, and it'll transfer back over to you. You get in the right mindset and then make the next call.